As you start working with NURBS curves and surfaces, you'll need to understand the concept of an open or closed curve or surface. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we're going to start simple. We're going to start with curves. So I'm going to create a simple CV curve, and I'm going to hop out. Let's go into my top viewport here. And I'm going to draw something that roughly resembles a circle. And then when I get to the top here, your instinct is just to click on this vertex. But in Maya, that won't close it. Now, it will in many other drawing packages, but not in Maya. So what you have to do is you have to explicitly tell Maya that the curve or the surface is open or closed. So I'm going to hit enter here, and notice how we have this gap at the top of this curve. So I want to close that up. Now I can do that using the curves menu. So if we go into curves, you'll see that we have an option here that says open, close. So if I toggle it once, it closes it. If I toggle it again, it opens. So this is really just an on-off sort of thing. But let's see what happens here. Okay, so I've got my control vertices here. So I've got one at the end of each here. And let's go ahead and close it again. So I select curves, open, close, and then let's take a look at the control vertices. Now what happens is that it moves the vertex in and it adds enough detail to close that surface. And then when we open it, again, it just subtracts that detail. So what it does is adds a little bit of detail and it closes up your curve. Now let's take a look at surfaces. So I'm going to draw a simple NURBS cylinder. Go ahead and drag that out. And I'm going to select and delete that top and bottom surface. So now I have really just a simple patch. Now if I go over to my attribute editor, you'll see that we have make NURBS cylinder, and I can open this up just by playing with the sweep. So if I open it up about this much, you'll see that I have basically the same situation I have with the curve. I have almost a circle, but it's still open at the top and the bottom. So in order to close a surface, we need to know the direction of that surface. So we can do this by right-clicking above it and going into Control Vertex. Now what I want to do is look for the little box. Remember when we first draw a CV curve, we get a box and then we get a U. Well, the same thing happens on a NURBS surface, except we have two directions. Instead of U, we have U and V. So if I scroll down to this bottom corner here, you'll see I have my little box here. And then along this direction, if we scroll in really tightly here, you'll see that this is a V. And up here, along this row here, that's the U. So for this particular surface, the V direction goes around and the U direction goes up and down. So if I right click, go into object mode, now I have the information I need to close this surface. So if we go into surfaces, you'll see we also have open and close. If I click on my options here, you'll see we have a couple of different things that we can choose. One is that surface direction. So U, which is vertical, and that's not what we want. V, which is around the circle, and that's what we want. And then do we want to preserve or ignore the shape, or do we want to blend the shape? I'm going to go ahead and keep it on preserve and hit open close. And when we do, watch what happens. You see we get an actual surface that basically connects in, and this is all joined together. So when you open and close either curves or surfaces, it's really a toggle. It's either on or off. And when you work with surfaces, you need to be sure that you understand which direction of the surface you're opening or closing.